just want to make it clear that I didn't get fired. I self-deported. And though I may be leaving this job, I will not be ending my mission. As I told my plastic surgeon, the work is never done.
Saturday Night Live absolutely skewered Christie Noem by taking her 1 year at DHS and letting her worst moments do the talking. One of these moments, which we'll get into a little later, led to Trump announcing her replacement on Truth Social, which basically translates to,
"You're fired."
No phone call, no meeting, no heads up, just a post on Trump's Twitter knockoff. And the only person insisting that this was voluntary is the one who just lost her badge, luxury plane, plastic surgery fund, and a seat at the cabinet table.
It reminded me of the quote that is often attributed to George Orwell that states, "People sleep peacefully in their beds at night only because rough men stand ready to do violence on their behalfs." Which means you step up in order to protect people, and you do it in a way that other people often are never going to be required to.
The irony of Christie Noem quoting George Orwell to process being fired by Trump is just too good. Wait, what do you mean the quote is fake? George Orwell never said that?
Awkward.
But I gave my all to the DHS, and I have no regrets. Because like they say, you miss 100% of the dogs you don't shoot.
In Noem's 2024 memoir, she bragged about murdering her 14-month-old puppy, Cricket, because it was unruly after a bad hunting trip, and not because she's a f***ing psycho with no control or empathy. She framed it as grit and leadership, when really, it was just murder. It was cowardly and stupid, much like the rest of the Trump administration.
You decided to kill that dog because you had not invested the appropriate time in training, and then you have the audacity to go into a book and say it's a leadership lesson about tough choices. At that same lunch hour, you killed a goat. And you killed the goat because you said it was behaving badly. You are a farmer. You don't castrate a goat, they behave badly. You should have probably done that before, but my point is, those are bad decisions made in the heat of the moment, not unlike what happened up in Minneapolis.
And this is a Republican who said that. So it's hardly shocking that the person whose first instinct was to shoot her own dog ended up running the office that executed American citizens in broad daylight and then lied about it on national TV.
The fact that you can't admit to a mistake, which looks like under investigation, is going to prove that Miss Good and Mr. Pretty probably should not have been shot in the face and in the back.
Noem and little old Greg Bovino even read from the same fascist script written by Joseph Goebbels, Stephen Miller.
An individual
approached
U.S. Border
Patrol
Patrol
officers
with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun.
The officers attempted to
The
disarm
agents
this
attempted
individual,
to disarm the
but the
individual,
armed suspect
but he
reacted
violently resisted.
Yikes.
And I'm proud of what we've accomplished. I took this job with the goal of securing our border, deporting thousands of illegals, and spending $200 million on ads of me riding a horse.
First off, $220 million. That's what it cost to put Christie Noem on a horse on television telling immigrants to go home.
You remind me of why our forefathers came here. Not just for its beauty, but for the freedom only America provides. I'm Kristi Noem.
One contract went to a Delaware LLC that was created days before it won a $143 million deal. It didn't have a staff, and the address on file was a private home in Virginia.
Madam Secretary, I'll read from the notice from your agency. Given the immediate action to significantly reduce illegal immigration and border crossings, DHS identified 4 companies. 4 of the hundreds of thousands of companies in the United States, you identified 4. One of those is this Safe America Media company. Where is Safe America Media headquartered?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Madam Secretary. We can't find it. We can't find a website. We did find an address that's registered for this company. Do you know where that address is?
Is there a problem with this contract?
I'll tell you about it.
According to
Madam
law,
Secretary, the
the
address is registered to a political operative. Madam Secretary, the company, and then I'll give you an opportunity to respond. The company is registered to a political operative in Virginia. Do you know, just by way of example, whether this company that received $143 million in taxpayer dollars, has it ever done work for the government before?
I don't know. I can't.
The answer is it has not. And do you know why we know that? Because it was incorporated 8 days before this contract went out.
The competitive bidding process for these contracts skipped. DHS said it was a national emergency.
Right.
Trump, MAGA, and the Republican Party have spent years screaming about waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. They made it their whole personality, and then Trump hands $220 million of our taxpayer money to a bunch of shell companies so Christie Noem can ride a f***ing horse on camera. Just to put this all into perspective, Here are some movies that cost less to make than Christie Noem's $220 million shitty propaganda ad. The Matrix, $63 million. Oppenheimer, $100 million. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, $125 million. Iron Man, $140 million. Barbie, $145 million. Top Gun Maverick, $177 million. Spider-Man No Way Home, $200 million.
The president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes, did it correctly.
Did the president know
worked
you
with
were going to do
OMB.
this?
Yes.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. I'm not saying you're not telling the truth. It's just hard for me to believe, knowing the president, as I do, that you said, Mr. President, here's some ads I've cut, and I'm going to spend $220 million running them, that he would have agreed to that.
And then 24 hours later, Trump denied knowing anything about it. And Republican Senator John Kennedy told reporters that the president was not a happy camper, which, again, basically translates to,
"You're fired."
So Noem blames Trump, Trump denies it, and then Noem's allies went to the press and said White House officials were involved all along. So now we have the administration lying about who approved the lie about who approved the ads. But Noem's telling the truth, and I can prove it. Last year, on stage at CPAC, yes, the very same one where Elon waved around a chainsaw like an idiot and bragged about his Doge failure.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
What is wrong with these people?
Noem told a story about the DHS ads in front of a crowd of Trump supporters before any of this was even a scandal.
And he said, Christy, do you know those ads that you did in South Dakota?
Oh,
and I said, yes, sir. You mean my Freedom Works Here ads? And he said, yeah, those ones where those beautiful ads. Those beautiful ads.
Beautiful.
You did about South Dakota. They had Mount Rushmore, all those things. He said, I want you to do those for the border.
Brilliant.
And I said, well, sir, I don't know how that works. You mean the ones where I was a plumber and where I was an electrician? And I don't know if I can do those for the border. And he said, no, I want you to do those for the border. And I want you to do those everywhere, not just in the United States, but I want them around the world. I want you to tell people not to come to this country if they're going to come here illegally. And I said, well, sir, we can do press conferences. You know, we can tell people what we're doing. And he said, nope, we're not going to let the media tell this story, because the media will never tell the truth. We're going to do a marketing campaign to make sure the American people know the truth of what you're doing. And I said, well, sir, do you want to be in those ads? And he said, nope, I want you to do them.
No?
He said, no, I don't. I want you in the ads. He said, I want you in the ads, and I want your face in the ads. But he said, but I want the first ad, I want you to thank me. So I want you to thank me for closing the border. And I said, yes, sir, I will thank you for closing the border. So if you notice, in that ad, we thanked him for closing the border.
She said it because at the time, it was something to brag about. And the moment she said it again under oath on camera, she became inconvenient. Basically, Noem got cricketed for being unruly. So while Noem has no reason to lie about these ads, Trump does. And that's why he's now denying everything with his recycled act of denial. And look, if Trump wants to play dumb, that's fine. But at some point, I don't remember and I've never heard of it, stop being a legal strategy and start being a pretty solid case for dementia.
Name the undisputed. When did this come out?
Anyway, let's get back to SNL mocking Noem for her affair with Corey Lewandowski, the shadow co-leader of DHS.
And I think I really nailed it. And by it, I mean my married coworker in a big, beautiful flying bedroom 30,000 feet over Minneapolis.
Call it what you want, but these two spent a lot of time in that taxpayer-funded luxury private jet that had a big, beautiful flying bedroom, privacy chamber. Their affair has become such a known thing that it got brought up in that same hearing.
You've called Corey Lewandowski a special government employee. I understand what government means. I understand what employee means, okay? But I don't know what makes him special. Now, I want to give you an opportunity to answer on the record to Ms. Kamlager-Dove's question. I know you said it's garbage, and it may be, but I really think you need to say the word no into the record so that you can clear that up.
I think the ridiculousness of this and the tabloids that you are quoting and referencing are insane. And this has been
So that's a no?
something that I've refuted
Is
for
that a no?
years, and I continue to do that.
So it's a
what
no.
I would tell you is
We
when
can move on.
regards
Hold
to
on.
what you're
Madam Secretary,
doing.
we can move on. I'm not going to belabor it. If it's
This is what you do.
Hold on,
The
I'm not doing anything.
Liberal left
Okay.
is you go off and you
I-
attack
I would-
conservative women and you say that we're either stupid
I haven't
or
said
we're
anything.
sluts.
All right, so listen.
And that's what you do.
Yesterday,
I will tell
Richard,
you, sir,
yes, reclaiming
I will
my
tell
time,
you,
Mr.
sir,
Chairman.
I
Mr.
am
Chairman,
neither of
reclaiming my time.
That sure didn't sound like a no or anything remotely close to a denial, so I'll take that as a yes. The party of family values strikes again.
And while I look forward to what comes next, leaving is bittersweet. But the time has come for me to turn in my badge, gun, lips, lashes, teeth, and forehead. But I'm so excited about my new job as Special Envoy to the Shield of the Americas.
This is how Trump fires someone in his White House who he wants to keep quiet, or at least not talk about the blatant corruption they've got going on, crimes they're committing, or any other dirt they may have on them. He invents a title and then gives it a name that tries to sound important. Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas, which honestly sounds like a superhero team that you get from Temu or Wish.com. Also, who designed this logo? It looks like Paw Patrol. While Noem gets ushered into an office like Colonel Lockjaw from one battle after another, the real budget and authority is potentially going to Senator Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma, who Trump described in this same post on Truth Social that fired Noem as a MAGA warrior and a former undefeated professional MMA fighter. He's a fucking plumber who only fought 5 times and likes to flirt with stolen valor. He's got no training in emergency management or constitutional law, so basically, he's the perfect person to run Trump's DHS. Also, Trump keeps saying that Mullen is taking over DHS like it's already done, but he still has to be confirmed by the Senate, and until then, it's just Trump pre-selling the action figure before the mold is even made. You can fire Ice Barbie and hire Cage Fighter Ken, but if the script is still maximum pain to anyone who's brown or protest and zero accountability when people die, nothing actually changes. Mark Wayne Mullen will absolutely say and do the same things that Noem did. The same talking points, the same crackdowns, the same shrug when civil rights get steamrolled. The only real difference here is that he probably won't run up quite as big of a tab for plastic surgery on the taxpayer dime. Though, now that I know that Pete Hegseth just ran up a $93 billion tab on our dime, kinda makes me think otherwise. It's also worth remembering that the tough-talking MMA warrior that Trump keeps bragging about is a f***ing coward. This guy hid behind a desk in the House chamber when Trump's mob rioted at the Capitol on January 6th. Oh, and how could I forget? Mullen admitted that Matt Gaetz used to show him explicit videos and photos of young girls on the House floor.
We had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night.
I'm sorry. What?
Crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night.
This is the new face of Law & Order at DHS. A guy who watched Gaetz treat the House chamber like a frat house group chat and somehow never thought that maybe he should report him. While the Christie Noem implosion was dominating Capitol Hill, Hegseth was over at the Pentagon holding press conferences, so naturally SNL made fun of him. Again, this time he started with a keg stand, or as he calls it,
my keg stand. And relax, it was Sprite. As you may have seen from our epic Pentagram meme drops, we're treating Iran like the breathalyzer in my car and blowing it the hell up.
The guy's a f***ing drunk who aimlessly led us into a war that Trump chose to start, so yeah, things are looking real great right now.
Our operation couldn't be going better and everyone loves it. To quote my personal hero, Papa Roach, cut Iran into pieces. Make it a Trump resort.
Yeah, no one loves this war except the administration who is actively profiting off it, or also MAGA who's now cheering on a forever war to say that peace will come from it. A majority of Americans don't want us there. They don't think that we know what we're doing or have any control over what happens next. Oil prices are up, gas prices are up, the cost of goods are up, and every day we find out about another US soldier who was killed in action.
Now, this situation's complicated, okay? So let me put it in terms that I can understand. We're giving Iran a 3rd-degree purple nurple. All right? And we've torpedoed their ship so bad, their navy's gonna be singing, Anda da sea. Yeah, that's right. We could do Jamaican again. You're welcome.
In case you missed this, on March 4th, a US submarine sank an Iranian warship after it took part in an exhibition hosted by India. It was headed home, and according to reports, it was not a threat, but that didn't matter to Hegseth and Trump.
I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? He said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, they like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them. I guess it's probably true.
They recklessly attacked a ship that posed no imminent threat, killing 87 Iranians and leaving 32 to be rescued at sea.
Secretary Hegseth, you said this war could... Wait, war? Okay, whoever called this a war? Except maybe the president a couple times accidentally. Okay? This isn't a war. Also, why do we have to put labels on everything, okay? What are you, my high school girlfriend, which I had? This isn't a war, okay? It's a situationship. Right? We're just gonna hook up, we're gonna see where it goes, okay? If it feels good, we'll keep going, and if we get bored, we'll start hooking up with Cuba.
The GOP still cannot commit to the word war because once you say it out loud, things get constitutionally messy fast.
And we may have casualties. That often happens in war.
I don't know if this is technically a war.
We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
This isn't a war. We haven't declared war.
The Secretary of Defense, who calls himself the Secretary of War, said today this is a war.
We set the terms of this war, from start to finish.
Nobody should classify this as war. It is combat operations.
War is hell, and always will be.
Strategic strikes are not war.
So instead, they try to confuse people and make it seem non-committal in hopes that nobody looks too closely at the Tomahawk missiles murdering Iranian school children.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday.
Did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
Based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still investigating.
But the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation, but Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
A new report says that the military investigation has found that the United States struck the school in Iran. As Commander-in-Chief, do you take responsibility for that?
That is what?
As Commander-in-Chief, do you...
For what?
For the strike on the school in Iran. A new report says the military investigation has found it was the United States that struck the school.
I don't know about that.
You sure about that?
And now, Lindsey Graham is pushing Trump to invade Cuba.
I'm not looking for a fair fight. If we get in a fight, I want to win it. I want to win it quick. I'm in Miami. You see this hat? Free Cuba. Stay tuned. Yeah. The liberation of Cuba is upon us. It's just a matter of time now. You see this hat? Make Iran great. President Trump said the only way to make Iran great is for the people to take over. We're marching through the world. We're cleaning out the bad guys. We're going to have relationships with new people that will make us prosperous and safe. I've never seen anybody like it. This is Ronald Reagan plus. Donald Trump is resetting the world in a way nobody could have dreamed of a year ago. He is the greatest commander-in-chief of all time. Our military is the best of all time. Iran is going down, and Cuba is next.
Dude, what the f*** are we doing?
We don't know.
And that right there is the perfect way to summarize the Trump administration. But one thing is clear. This is Trump's war. He chose to start it, and he chose Hegseth to run it. And when we lose this war, which... sadly, we will. The death and destruction will be on Trump, even if he tries to claim...
Don't take responsibility at all.
Thanks for watching What Was That? This show is powered by viewers like you, and to support my work and get access to more episodes and breakdowns, you can join the community at whatwasthat.show for just $10 a month. Your subscription helps keep What Was That independent. No corporate filters, no outside agenda, just honest storytelling with a sense of humor. You can also find What Was That on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.